Welcome to this first Union Avatar webinar, especially focused on developers to learn how to integrate your avatar into your projects with Unity and Unreal. Many of you are working now with video games, digital platform, or augmented reality. You would like users to be able to create their own digital identity in a simple, fast, and a fun way as well. And that is why we are here today with our expert developer Alvaro Ramirez, who has been working in the game engine integration of Union Avatar and has experience in game development, 3D art, and animation. In addition to being a developer, Alvaro he has also been a speaker at Epitech, explaining the use and integration of dynamic avatars and generative AI. So, hello Alvaro, welcome to the webinar. How are you? Are you excited?
Yeah, thank you, Alicia, for the presentation, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. I think it's really cool. I get the chance to explain the SDKs we've been working on. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to come here.
Before start, do you have any recommendation of the version of Unity or Unreal that we will need?
Yeah, for the real versions, the ones we are supporting are starting from 5.0.3. And for the Unity versions we are supporting, we are start at 2020.3, the long-term support.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with the webinar.
Okay. Well, first I want to apologize if things go too quickly because there's quite a bit of content I want to go over. And for this webinar, I've prepared two simple games, an example cases, one for Unreal and one for Unity. And it's a very simple game where we have a character and some movement. And our objective here is to replace the character with a dynamic avatar generated at runtime using our SDK. So let's take a look at this example project. I set it up in Unreal. As you can see, we have a character. We have some blueprint I've made for movement, camera movement, something really simple. This can be like more complex depending on your project, but this should be like a pretty base to understand how things are going on. If we take a look at the project, we see that we have the character model, the materials, and the animations. This is a character from Mixamo, but you can use whatever character as long as it's humanoid. And we can see here that we have a game mode and our player, which is consists only on a fast skeletal mesh, a camera, and a movement script and event graph. And okay, the first thing we are going to do is to import the Unreal plugin. This is a blueprint project, so I'm going to explain how to import the SDK for a plugin for a blueprint project version. Also, a thing I recommend to everyone is to take a look at our documentation because it's everything you need to know. It's explained here. Everything I will tell you in this webinar, you can pretty much find it here, but I will try to be as detailed as possible so you can understand it. Okay, so let's close Unreal for now because we need to install the plugin. When you download the SDK, you will get a zip file, as you can see here. And if you get inside, you will find a folder called Blueprints and a folder for the version of Unreal where the Blueprint plugin was compiled. In this case, we are using 5.0.3. So if we go inside the Blueprint zip, we'll find two plugins. One is the GLTF runtime, and the other one is the Union Avatars SDK. And to install it into Unreal, we need to go to the Unreal Engine installation. In my case, it's under Program Files and Epic Games. And so we need to go into Engine, Plugins, and drop the two folders inside of here. In case you are using a C++ project, this process change, you can drop the plugins inside of your single project and recompile it. But I won't go into that to keep things a little bit simpler. But as I said, you can find that in the documentation as well. So once that's done, let's open again the project. And we get a prompt here about the plugins available. And if we take a look, we will see that we have the Union Avatars plugin here. We just need to enable, and it will ask us to restart the editor. So we're going to do that. Okay, cool. Now, in order to see the plugin content, you need to enable these options here because they might be not be enabled by default. You might find your folders like that and you won't find anything. So you need to enable both the engine content and the plugin content. And now if we go into engine and plugins, if we scroll to the bottom, we will find the Union Avatars content for the plugin we just installed. And here's pretty much everything you will need. You can find the Union Avatars component, some of the samples we provide, and the base characters we use, so you can play with them and do everything you need. And in this case, we have some examples we provide for the that are especially tailored to the Union Avatars, the Unreal mannequin. If we take a look at one of the examples we provide, is one to replace the third-person example from Unreal. But because this project doesn't use it, I'm going to delete these samples just so it won't get any error, just to make sure. You don't need to actually do this, but just in case. Okay, so now we have the plugin set up and everything is ready to go. So let's going to take a look at our game again. And let's focus on the blueprint of our character. As we mentioned, we want to change this for one of our avatars. So what we're going to do here is replace the skeletal mesh of this player blueprint. The rest of the player blueprint can stay the same because it's what we want. We want to keep the movement. We just want to replace the model. So, okay, let's go into the skeletal mesh and change this skeletal mesh for the one we provide of Union Avatars. And okay, as you can see, it's here. It's a base model with no textures. We can scale it up a little bit so it looks like the original. And to add the dynamic avatar generation, the only thing we need to do is go into here, add, and look for a Union Avatars component. Once we added this, you will find that it has a variable called avatar URL, and we can fill this with a avatar URL. And you can find this on the website when you create an avatar. So let me go very quickly. You will find something like this, and you can grab whatever avatar you want. I'm going to take this one. I think it looks good. So I copy the link, go into here, and paste it. Now if I save this and compile it, when we go into play mode, we see that our avatar base gets loaded, and after a few seconds, it's downloading the model. You will see that the model gets applied. And cool, we have dynamic generation at runtime, but it's easy to see that we have no animations. So how do we make animations compatible with our avatar? Because, you know, out there in your game or your platform, you might have a different animation system, a different skeleton hierarchy from our avatars. So it's really important to keep them compatible. So what we're going to do now is to retarget the animations from the character we had to the Union Avatars skeleton. And Unreal provides us with a very easy way to do this, which is the IK retargeting. You can take a look at the Unreal documentation here. It's very well explained, but I will do a quick run to show you how to do it in a simple way. Okay, if we go again to the Union Avatars content folder, you will find here that in the characters animation, we have an IK rig. If we go inside, you're going to see the Union Avatars base model. And here on the right, you will find a lot of chains. Okay, this is what we use to retarget, and it follows the Unreal specifications that are in the documentation, and they are also used in the Unreal mannequins. So it has a spine, a left arm, a left leg, and it also goes for each finger. And what we need to do is to replicate this in our base model, so Unreal can match the animations by using these chains. Don't worry, I'm going to explain how to do it now. So if we go into the folder where our character is here, let's go into animations. Let me delete this, it was a test I did before. Okay, to do it, we just need to right click, animation, and create a new IK rig. And here we need to select the character where that we want, in our case the knight we had before. And let's put some name here. Now if we open it, we will see that we had no chain yet. We need to create them. But the first thing we are going to do is set the retarget root to the hips bone. This is very important because otherwise the root motion isn't going to like translate well. If we take a look at the union avatars, we see that it has the retarget root at the hips too. And now we need to create the chains. I won't go too deep about creating them for every finger, so I'm going to do just the essentials. I'm going to create one for the spine. To do this, you just need to select the start of the chain, press Shift, select the end, and right-click, new retarget chain from selected bones. And Unreal will automatically give you a name, and in this case it's covered, so we're gonna keep that and do the same for the rest of them. If you want to see which ones you need to use, you can go into here and see which ones we have. And in the ideal scenario, you need to replicate each one of them so it looks the best. Another one for the left shoulder. In this case, it's not named left shoulder, but left clavicle. And the same for the left hand. The right shoulder. The right arm, the left leg, and the right one. Cool, and we have it. Now that this is done, we can start building the retargeter, and we can do this same as we did the IK rig by going to here, animation, and creating an IK retargeter. Well, so let's continue. As I mentioned, we need to create a new IK retargeter. So we go into here, and we need to select the IK rig from where we want to copy the animations from. In our case, it's the one we just created now. So the tutorial IK. And let's put some name also. And when we enter it, we should see the character we had, and with our animations on the right side. And now we need to select the target IK rig to where we want to copy the animations. In this case, it's the Union Avatar's skeleton. Okay, it's here. So in theory, if we now press one of the animations, it should retarget the animation from the old character to the new one. So let's, for example, the idol. And as you see, it's doing the job, but it doesn't look good. This is for a reason, and it's because, as you see, the pose of the avatars isn't the same. So we need to manually fix that. So to do this, we can go into here, and let's tweak a few settings. First, let's make the bone size a little bit smaller, and let's pose the actors at the same position. And let's scale the Union avatars a little bit so they look more similar. Okay, and now I press the edit pose button here on the top bar, and now we can select each bone and manually pose them so it looks the same as the other one. What I like to do here is go into the global mode and start posing it. It doesn't need like to match like 100% the pose. I'm doing this very quickly. You can do it like much better and with more time and patience. But somehow that it's pretty similar, it will automatically give good results. So yeah, something like that. I think it will work. So now let's get out of the edit pose and let's separate the avatars. And as you can see, that looks way better. But you might find that there's still some problems, especially in the hand. This is because we didn't make all of the IK chains that the Union Avatar original IK has. So on Real, it's by default assigning them to incongruent bounds. So if you find this problem, the only thing you need to do is go into here, into the chain mapping of the retargeter, and deparent those bones. For example, the right pinky, we don't have an IK chain for the pinky bone, so we assign it to none, and we are going to do the same for each finger and the right thumb. And as you can see, the right hand now looks good. Let's do the same for the left hand. Okay, I think that's it. We now press play. We see that the avatar, and the animation now looks good. We are going to try a new. Oh, yeah. Okay, now looks correct. Okay, we successfully made the IK rig and the retargeter. Now we just need to retarget the animations. If you see here, we have an animation blueprint I've made for the night. It's a simple blueprint with two states, one for the movement and another one for the jump. And we want to retarget everything inside of here, as you see the animations and this blend space I've made for the walking. And we can actually do all of this with just one button. If we go into the animation blueprint and right click here, we can find this option called retarget animation assets. And if we go into duplicate and retarget animation blueprint, it will show us this screen where we can select an IK retargeter. In here, we need to select the one we just created for retarget the night animations to the Union Avatars one. And okay, this looks good. We can select a folder where we want to export these animations. I'm going to create a new folder here. Okay. And we can add some naming to animations. In this case, I'm going to add a prefix just to keep them separated. And when I press retarget, here we go. Now we have all the animations here retargeted to the Union Avatar's skeleton. And we have a functional animation blueprint that we can now assign to our third-person character. So we go into here and into the mesh. We can now add the one we just created. And cool, we have it. As you can see, now we have the avatar animated, and in a few seconds, it should load the avatar we just put in the avatar URL. Another cool thing we can enable is the avatar cache. So the load times get way short between when we load avatars that we previously loaded. So if we go into edit and project settings, you will find here Union Avatars under game, and we can enable the avatar cache. So the first time we load an avatar, it will take a few seconds because it's downloading the assets from our servers. But the next time we load it, you will see that it's almost, yeah, it doesn't barely take any seconds to load it. We still have a little bit of time, I think, for Unreal. So I will run very quickly about how to implement the interface we have, which is a little bit experimental. We are working on improvements on it. But still, if you want to create avatars from inside the game, you can do it. So if we go again to the Union Avatars content folder, you will find here in samples that we have a player controller. And if we go inside, you will see that it has methods to load a web interface that uses the Union Avatar's web browser. And it loads when we press the letter Q. You can copy this into your player controller, for example. But for now, let's go into straightly use this. So if we go to the game mode we created for this game, it's inside here. We can change the default player controller for the one of the samples in the Union Avatars SDK. And what this player controller does is taking the player, the pound we are possessing, in this case, the blueprint I made, and call the Union Avatars component inside of it. So if now I press Q, you will see that the interface gets loaded and we will be able to create avatars from here. There's one thing, I need to turn off my camera 1 minute from Discord, because otherwise it won't let me use it from here. Okay. We can log in using our account. And let's take a quick photo. The quality isn't the best, I don't know which kind of avatar can we get here. But yeah, this will take a little bit of time for the algorithm to generate an avatar with our face. But yeah, that's it. I think we've gone over all I wanted to explain for the Unreal SDK.
Thank you, Alvaro. It's really cool what you are doing. And I have one small question. Is there a way in the future to have functionality to change the avatar body in runtime, or not creating new avatar, just change the body in runtime, or hairs, for example?
Yeah, this is something we are working on, and it's like pretty much ready on the API level. The thing here is that for the interface in Unreal, we are using an iframe, which is like kind of outdated, and we are working on a new one. That's what I mentioned. It's like a little bit of experimental feature, but yeah, for sure. In the new versions of the Unreal SDK, you will be able to edit the avatar and just change the body while keeping the same avatar.
Okay. So if there are no further questions, we will continue with the Unity tutorial. And remember again that you can use your microphone or you can ask your questions throughout all the talk.